joined by the congregation.
A festival of 9 lessons and carols. Sunday at 15 GMT. At bbcworldservice.com, The Conversation.
A cybersecurity expert from India who's on a mission to help other women enter the field speaks to a Nigerian information security engineer who promotes cyber literacy among young African women. Why cybersecurity is an issue for everyone and their advice on how to stay safe online.
This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
On 13th January 2024, Taiwan, also known as the Republic of China, goes to the polls to elect a new president. With tensions between Taiwan and China at a historic high, the result being watched anxiously. I'm Cindy Sue, and in the next hour, I want to give you an insight into the election, not through the claims and counterclaims of the politicians, but with the help of 2 young and passionate voters.
If Taiwan's military force is going better and better and China cannot just chase over it, then I think we will have it. But if not, I think the war really is coming.
No one is talking about how we can prevent the war from happening. And I think that's very necessary.
That's the World Service documentary, Taiwan's Balancing Act, coming up right after the news.
Hello, I'm Moira Alderson with the BBC News. The Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh is in Cairo for talks with Egyptian officials on Gaza. His visit is another sign of possible movement in negotiations over the resumption of the temporary truce which Egypt helped broker last month. Yolande Nell is in Jerusalem.
Reports suggest that intensive Qatari and Egyptian-mediated talks are now underway for a possible second Gaza truce. According to local media, Israel is asking that women and unwell men should be included in the deal. Palestinians imprisoned for serious offences could be among those freed in exchange. Hamas has previously said that it will only release hostages if there's a permanent ceasefire. Israel maintains that the war in Gaza will only end when Hamas has been removed from power. However, yesterday, the Israeli president said his country was ready for another humanitarian pause.
Yolande Nell reporting. The Congolese are voting in presidential, parliamentary and regional elections. The Electoral Commission insists it's ready to deliver the election despite huge challenges, particularly from rebel activity in some eastern areas. Emery Makuneno is in the Congolese capital, Kinshasa.
Because of the fresh fighting since October, 500,000 people have been obliged to flee their homes. Those are the people who had registered but might not be voting, but also 2 consistencies in North Kivu province where the government troops are fighting a rebel group called the M23. There are 2 consistencies, Masisi and Ruchuru, where even registration was impossible. So there was no way for the Electoral Commission to deploy the electoral kits there. So it poses a problem of inclusivity there, but because of the fighting, just voting there was made impossible.
Donald Trump's re-election team says it will appeal a decision by the Colorado Supreme Court to bar the former American president from running in the state's presidential primary election in March. They want the US Supreme Court to rule on the decision that Mr. Trump is an ineligible candidate because his actions when the US Capitol building was attacked in January 2021 amounted to insurrection. John Sudworth in Washington.
The 2024 election race was already wading into a legal quagmire, the US Supreme Court being asked to rule on whether or not Donald Trump is, as he claims, immune from prosecution for the multiple criminal charges he is facing. But this latest development is a particularly thorny one and a significant one. The same challenge is being heard by courts in other states, but either way, it seems hard now to see how this case doesn't end up before the US Supreme Court, although of course it's ultimately up to the justices there to decide which cases they hear.
BBC News. EU member states and the European Parliament have reached agreement on a comprehensive approach to managing migration and asylum. The head of the European Parliament called it historic, saying it showed that the EU could deliver on the issue that mattered most to its citizens. The deal includes a mechanism designed to help frontline states deal with migrants It also aims to speed up and standardise the vetting of arrivals and the accelerated deportation of rejected asylum applicants. About 100 MPs from Poland's opposition Law and Justice Party have occupied the headquarters of the state TV company in protest at plans by the new coalition government to depoliticise the public media. Adam Easton reports from Warsaw.
Party leader Jarosław Kaczyński said teams of 10 MPs would continue to occupy the building, working in shifts. During its 8 years in office, Law and Justice transformed TVP News into a propaganda tool, and it was widely condemned for undermining media pluralism. Poland's new coalition government has pledged to depoliticize state media. Kaczynski's definition of pluralism, TVP must remain a conservative station that backed his party.
The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi says he'll look into any evidence he receives about his government's alleged involvement in a foiled plot to kill a Sikh separatist leader in the US. Mr. Modi played down the diplomatic impact of a US indictment last month that claimed that an Indian official directed the attempted murder. At least 10 people have been killed in flooding across the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Officials said more than 12,000 people had been forced to flee to safer areas as water submerged roads and villages. A powerful cyclone that hit Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh earlier this month has triggered intense rainfall. That's the latest world news from the BBC.
I don't think it's eyes. I think it's their mouth.
Are you sure it's not the eyes?
I'm not sure.
We're in a restaurant in Taiwan's largest city, New Taipei, and Shirley Lin, a 25-year-old graduate student, is introducing me to one of her favorite dishes.
So it is the eyes of the squid that have been fried into little fry balls. Amazing. I've never had it. How is it?
Really delicious. My favorite one.
It's worth coming to Taiwan for.
Yes, please come to Taiwan.
Shirley's one of two people who have allowed me to follow them for a few days at this momentous period in Taiwan's history, as the island prepares for the 2024 presidential election next month.
You have to think, how can I keep Taiwan safe? How can I secure Taiwan's security and, deal with the biggest threat from the other side?
If China want to fight my country, then I will fight.
Dennis is 28 and a computer software engineer. For him, this is a time of existential threat for Taiwan, a threat that he believes may require him to take up arms to defend his country.
If it happens, I cannot refuse it, so I just embrace it, and I wish I can just hold this promise until maybe the war is coming.
Maybe one day make them become our brother or even friend. This is what a responsible, government has to think about.
I'm Cindy Sue, and this is the documentary on the BBC World Service. I've been reporting about Taiwan for 15 years, for much of that time as the BBC's Taipei-based correspondent. And the last 2 years have been by far the most unsettling. The island's recent history took shape in 1949 when Chiang Kai-shek's Republic of China, ROC, sought refuge here after losing the Chinese Civil War with the communists, which led to the creation of the People's Republic of China, the PRC, on the mainland. The existence of the two Chinas has never been officially accepted by either side or the international community as a whole. Under Chiang and subsequent rulers, Taiwan was effectively a one-party state, but towards the end of the 20th century, it transitioned into a multi-party democracy with elected presidents beginning in 1996. Increasingly, that democratic system has seen rising tensions between the island and the mainland, and in recent years, those tensions have raised worries across the globe.
Nancy Pelosi's delayed high-profile visit was never without risk. China's anger has led to the US ambassador there
Today,
being
our
summoned.
delegation, which I'm very proud, came to Taiwan to make unequivocally clear we will not abandon our commitment to Taiwan, and we are proud of our enduring friendship.
Taiwan says Chinese warplanes have entered its airspace hours after the US Speaker Nancy Pelosi ended her controversial visit to the island. Ying has
Facing deliberately heightened military threats, Taiwan will not back down. We will firmly uphold our nation's sovereignty and continue to hold the line of defense for democracy.
That last voice was Tsai Ing-wen, the current president of the Republic of China, who comes to the end of her 8-year rule, 4 months after the election in January. Who succeeds her and how he will address Taiwan's relationship with China is what makes this such a momentous election, especially after the visit of US Speaker Nancy Pelosi in 2022. Her presence on the island caused a marked escalation in the war of words and military exercises on both sides. With horrific fighting in Ukraine and the Middle East, there are fears that the world could see another war break out here in Taiwan. So as the presidential election approaches, ordinary Taiwanese people like Dennis and Shirley are preparing to make an important choice, but they're also taking action themselves, and they've allowed me to follow them to understand the challenges they face at the heart of Taiwan's democratic balancing act. It's a Sunday, the day when Taiwanese people like to relax, go shopping, or watch a movie. Instead, Dennis and his girlfriend Coco have signed up for an all-day class at the Kuma Academy. The Academy is a non-profit group set up in 2021 by 2 academics who believe that the best way to maintain peace is to prepare for war. And that includes training not only the soldiers, but also civilians to defend Taiwan. The aim is to prepare up to 3 million people, about a seventh of the population, in civil defense within 3 years. That's an ambitious goal, but after Pelosi's visit, the Academy got a donation of $18 million from a Taiwanese tech billionaire to scale up its training. Although today's session is in preparation for war, the atmosphere is lively rather than tense. This part of the training course is about evacuations and how to survive in the event of a war. The exercise now is to write down the blood type of people in your group and their specialty. That means what they're good at doing. And Dennis is sort of like a team leader, and he's written down everyone's in his team's blood type. And one person is good at management, and the other person is a housewife. He reassured her that she was not sure what she would be good at, and he said, "Oh, very good at cooking, and we need people to cook in evacuations." So Dennis, tell me about yourself.
I'm a Taipei resident and I work in financial staff, and I'm a front end technical product. I used to work in China. I work in Beijing's augmented reality
AR startup, owned by a Chinese company.
owned by a Chinese company. So I have some experience in China.
Was that your first time in China?
It's not my first time in China because my ex-girlfriend is in Shandong, Qingdao.
Chinese. She's from Shandong province. Dennis met his ex-girlfriend from the Chinese mainland at university, but it was because of his work in software development that he became interested in moving there to start his own company.
First, I just get a tour to maybe go to Beijing.
So these groups approach you because you are in the high-tech and you're interested in doing startups. And China is trying to attract Taiwanese talent to go to the mainland.
You can say that, but at first it's just a tour, just introduce some students about the startup in Beijing. So I just got the internship to Beijing. This kind of group, they offer this good stuff, but they also have tried to tell China is good and
Tell me why you're here today.
because my friend and I, we found out that Taiwan is a very dangerous situation. At first, because the president election is coming, right? But most candidates, their opinions is over China, so we are very worried about it.
What you're saying is, you think Taiwanese people are too complacent? 不知道危险。
Yes, yes.
In this exercise, the instructor is saying, pretend that war has just broken out right here. And your job is to evacuate, prepare all the material that you need. Although the atmosphere on this Sunday course is animated, the substance is deadly serious. Similar groups have popped up, including some that teach people how to fire guns. Whatever the result of the elections, there are now thousands of trainees who are ready to defend and protect themselves and their homeland against what they fear is an increasingly aggressive China. Just north of Taiwan's capital, Taipei, close to the northern coast of the island, is the campus of Danjiang University. It's where Shirley Lin is studying for her master's degree at the university's Graduate Institute of International Affairs and Strategic Studies. Hi, Shirley.
Hi, Sophie. How are you? Welcome.
Good to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
you.
So this is my institute. My institute is at the 12th floor, and this is the entrance. What we learn here is about strategy. But most people in Taiwan, when they think about strategy, they think about military strategy. But for us, let's not just. We have national security strategy. We have diplomatic strategy. So what we learn is not just military, but also how to maintain peace and stability, but also prepare for a possible war.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants war, right?
Can we go upstairs and you can explain that more to me?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's go.
That's the Danshui River. We're riding up the elevator to the 12th floor where the Graduate Institute is.
Yes.
Yeah, in this building. And that's the Danshui River, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can see the mouth of the Danshui River is just right.
Right. I'd like to go out there later. Shirley brackets herself with a majority of Taiwanese, around 60%, who say they're in favor of maintaining the political status quo. In other words, keeping Taiwan's status as a self-governing de facto country in all but name, and resisting both unification with China and formal independence. But before we sit down to talk, she invites me to join her in one of her student passions, a properly brewed cup of tea.
This tea, I think, is from Taichung.
I know Taiwanese people are very proud of their tea because
Yes.
it's grown like in a more natural way. Some of them, some people have told me, than in mainland China, they don't use pesticides in many of the farms.
Yeah. If you like it, you like it.
Yeah. With tea in hand and a view over the coastline where the Danshui River meets the Taiwan Strait, we settle down to chat, and I played for Shirley one of the typical international reports on tensions in Taiwan, as viewed in this case from the United States. This is the Wall Street Journal's report, and there's so many like it.
I mean, I've seen a lot about possible warfare across the Taiwan Strait.
And how do you feel when you hear so much about potential war between mainland China and Taiwan?
I feel very tired of it because no one is talking about how we can prevent the war from happening, and I think that's very necessary. One professor once said, when we learn those international relations theories and when we are learning strategies, we have to think how to make peace instead of waging a war. And so, we study the art of war by Sun Tzu as well. And, Sun Tzu doesn't encourage war. He argues to use strategy to defeat your enemy and waging a war is actually the last resort.
Do you think that Taiwan and mainland China are doing enough to prevent a war? And the rest of the world too, especially the United States and the EU?
Maybe not enough.
Like Dennis, Shirley's view of China and its relationship with Taiwan is informed by her own personal experience of traveling there. But her takeaway from meeting mainland Chinese people is that the issue of Taiwan's status doesn't have to be decided now. She hopes for a more gradual resolution, perhaps when the younger generations on both sides get to know each other and find a better way than the current leaders.
My family didn't really mention anything bad about China.
When you were growing up, did you see yourself as Taiwanese, Chinese, or Taiwanese and Chinese?
Taiwanese, but with Chinese cultural background. And so my impression on China wasn't bad. And then when I entered school, I learned China mainly from my textbooks and what my teachers taught me.
So your parents never took you to China, even though Taiwan is right next to mainland China?
No.
Did you guys go on holiday at all? Did your family go on holiday at all?
Yes, but just in Taiwan, not China.
And if you had the chance to go abroad for holiday, would your family choose mainland China?
Not really. we would choose like Japan or maybe Southeast Asia. I guess maybe we speak the same language. So when you go to China, you don't think you are going abroad, right? I went to China this July.
Only as an adult? The first time?
Yes, the first time. And then I felt like, I was like in Taiwan, the scenery, just the accent.
The Mandarin accent.
The Mandarin accent is really different from Taiwan. And the food is different as well. The taste of it is different.
But the dishes are very similar, some of the dishes?
Yes. And so you don't feel like really going abroad or visiting somewhere that speaks the same language as you do.
So when you were growing up, besides the textbook, did you have any kind of interaction with China?
Yeah. When I was undergrad, I had classmates from mainland China, in Taiwan and also in Canada. So I got along with them very well. We were like friends, and then we seldom talk about politics. But when we talk about politics, we focus on what we learned at school, and that's what I think. And then we don't argue, or we don't end up in a quarrel.
You didn't feel like any kind of divide between you and them?
No, but if we talk about like what we learned back home, then it would be very different. They naturally think that Taiwan is part of China because of what they learned at school. And I think Taiwan is Taiwan, and our national name is Republic of China, and we are a country. And so this is the difference I feel when I talk to them. When I was in China this July, I talked to a clerk at Tim Hortons, a Canadian cafe shop, and then he was talking to me, and then he suddenly said, "Oh, it's okay. We are like one family." So you know that it's embedded in their thought.
Back at the Kuma Academy, Dennis prepares for conflict. Rather than barking commands, the instructors use humor to downplay the harsh reality of facing one of the most powerful armies on Earth and coping with possible injury. Students like Dennis are taught to lift the person from the back. One person will hold both of their arms and lift them from the back, and the other person will hold them from their leg. Now it's time for students to demonstrate what they've just learned. Dennis is pairing up with a couple of male students here. Dennis is quite tall, and he's politely offered to be the one doing the lifting. He's quite a bigger man than his classmate. You don't want them to try lifting you?
Because I'm very heavy.
Oh, but they have to practice.
Okay.
Dennis is lying flat on the carpet here in this classroom. First they bend his knees. One classmate has grabbed him from the back, holding onto his arms, crossing his arms, and holding onto his arms. The other classmate has separated his legs, and they would lift him up. Have a 1, 2.
1、2、3。OK，好，走2步。OK， so scary. Yeah. OK, thank you. Yes, I'm worried about the war maybe happen in 2027 or maybe later because recently China is not good inside their country, right? If I'm Xi Jinping, and I will try to diverse the attention, diverse attention inside. So Taiwan may be a good option to diverse the people.
Dennis's theory that war could happen soon and might be used as a diversion away from China's economic challenges stems from comments made by a retired U.S. admiral and a general that Beijing is planning to launch an invasion of Taiwan by 2027 or even as early as 2025.
I have read a news and this YouTube, and it says that 2027 in the USA, because in the Congress, some generals and some lawmakers have mentioned it, that 2027 China has the power to just fight the war. So it just gives me some influence. So I think it really just make me worry about it. So I just come to study the. If it happens, I can refuse it. So I just embrace it. And if maybe China want to just fight my country, then I will fight.
The U.S. government has repeatedly stated that such claims about a war in the next few years do not represent the view of the administration, and it doesn't believe China is planning an imminent attack. On the sidelines of a meeting in San Francisco in November, China's President Xi Jinping told U.S. President Joe Biden that there are no such plans, but he reportedly laid out the conditions under which force could be used, and one of those is widely believed to be a formal declaration of independence by Taiwan. Xi's attempt to dispel speculation might not reassure people like Dennis and Coco, who seem convinced that he might try to take back Taiwan militarily, even though, like other Chinese leaders, Xi has indicated he prefers peaceful unification.
Time is up for the exercise.
In his closing message, the Academy instructor maintains the mix of humor and straight talking. Evacuate safely, he says, and keep paying your taxes to fund the war effort. And the final message from the instructor is, don't surrender, but try to stay alive. As we left the building, Dennis and Coco were clearly energized by the day's training and more convinced than ever that they have to prepare for war.
If we look back, Putin do in the Russia, because, in Ukraine, because he has a concept that in the ancient time, Ukraine is Russia's area. I think the Xi Jinping is the same idea that Taiwan used to be China. And they are the same kind of people. So I think it is really high potential that it will be war. So for now, I just enjoy the moment and prepare myself.
You don't believe there's any chance at maintaining peace?
I think it is hard. Because if Taiwan's military force is going better and better and China cannot just chase over it, and I think we will have. But if not, I think the war really is coming.
This is the BBC World Service, following the rewilding of orphaned baby elephants in northern Kenya.
I'm Michael Kalum. I'm here at Reteti Elephant Sanctuary.
We rescue
baby elephants, rehabilitate them, and then we introduce them back to the wild.
Reteti employs both men and women, but all the male keepers are former Samburu warriors.
Many warriors who have never gone to school in our sanctuary. Many of them
Changing
now
plans
are like
because
me,
of
get job opportunity.
Elephant numbers at the sanctuary have doubled as drought has effectively halted releases for the time being. But rescues continue.
It is always hard for us to let them go. It's part of success.
Our keepers only, there's a few of them, feed them, so that we make sure that they're becoming more wild than friendly to humans.
Rewilding the Orphaned Elephant. Tuesday at 9:30 and 20 GMT. Or listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to the documentary on the BBC World Service. I'm Cindy Sue, and I'm hearing from two young people in Taiwan about the island's balancing act as they prepare to vote in next month's presidential election.
Our name is Taiwan, so why can't we just say who we are?
If there's a war here, might be graves for our soldiers. That's really sad.
Hear more from Shirley and Dennis right after the news.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. The head of the Palestinian militant group Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, has arrived in Cairo to meet Egypt's intelligence chief. His visit is another sign of progress towards the resumption of the temporary truce in Gaza, which Egypt helped to broker last month. Malaysia has banned cargo ships with Israeli flags and those bound for Israel from docking at its ports in response to Israel's actions in Gaza, which it said violated basic humanitarian principles. Presidential, parliamentary and regional elections are taking place in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Voters were frustrated in the capital Kinshasa when some polling stations failed to open on time. President Felix Tshisekedi is facing 18 challengers who want to deny him a second term in office. The European Commission Vice President says EU member states have agreed on speedier vetting of asylum seekers and migrants, new border detention centres and the accelerated deportation for rejected applicants. The Assistant Chief of Staff to the last civilian Sudanese Prime Minister says the capture of the city of Wad Mudney by the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, has disrupted the country's vaccination programme. About 100 MPs from Poland's opposition Law and Justice Party have occupied the headquarters of the state TV company TVP in protest against plans by the new coalition government to depoliticise the public media. Thailand has stopped issuing new gun permits for a year following a number of high-profile mass shootings. In October, a 14-year-old boy killed 3 people in a Bangkok shopping mall, and last year a former policeman murdered 36 people, half of them infants. The Indian Prime Minister has said he'll look into any evidence he receives about his government's alleged involvement in a foiled plot to kill a Sikh separatist leader in the United States. BBC News.
Like Friday night in Taipei, in one of the most popular districts in Taiwan, Ximending.
Broadcasting live online.
We are like young people, and there are lots of billboards showing fashionable models and
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Isioma
Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Star Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And I sabi you know, just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckle. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Star Radio UK. You can listen to wherever you are. You can listen to wherever you are.
The best radio show.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world.
This is Starr Radio UK.
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
Are you ready to turn it up? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Star Radio UK and the Morning Show. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive a king. Hey, listeners, yes, let earth receive a king. It is Star Radio UK. I'm Archie, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. And the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade, Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands, the hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain the same till the end.
runs things. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a dog fade, and that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain the same till the end. Till the end. You are God. One who took my pain, took away my shame. Lord, you reign.
Okay, let me say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth and those of you on other planets as well. I want to salute each and every one of you and welcome you to the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Today is the 20th day of December 2023. How many days more for the big day? And how many days more for the end of the year? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
You make a doubt they fade.
It's Christmas! Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
You hold the world in your hand.
So from now to 12 o'clock, as you know, it's a Wednesday edition of the morning show. And because we're going to be winding down pretty for all the Christmas festivities and a few things that need to be done. So from today, we'll be finishing at 12 o'clock. Normally, Wednesdays we finish at 12 o'clock. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock, and then Friday, 12 o'clock as well. So that we'll get the technical staff to be doing whatever things that they need to do. But remember that this evening, Mr. Koiki will be coming your way with the Niger voices. Okie dokie do! Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only Archie. And once again, I say welcome on board. Let me say good morning to my producer, Mr. Francis Gai, and the one and only colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, all the way in North London. I salute you, gentlemen. And also, let me say good morning to Bishop Adesina, Antonia Deleji Aziz. Wherever you are, good morning. Olakunle, Shamsuddin, Rachel. And my bishop himself, I salute you once again. Pastor Momo, good morning. All the staff at the RBS office in Lagos, Nigeria, working with my bishop Adesina. Massive good morning to you all. And I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year as well. Our protocol observed wherever you are listening to us from. We welcome you to the program. By my well program, I'm going to bring the quote of the day, the weather forecast to follow suit, then the travel update. Move from there to have a look at tomorrow. So it's making the rounds across the globe. About trotting. Then after that, we'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds from Nigeria. It's updates from Nigeria, which Mr. Olayomi Koiki will be bringing us all that from our North London studios. Then we continue from then at 11:30. The lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussion. That's 12 o'clock. The friends are brought down for the end of the program. So in Nigeria, that's what's going to happen. You know, you can do me a massive favor, give me my best Christmas gift. And you know what? Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. Everybody should like our pages. If you do so, that is my best Christmas gift that you can ever give me. Thank you very much. As you do so. Well, the quote for the day says, when you shut yourself from constructive criticism, you cease to learn. When you shut yourself from constructive criticism, you cease to learn. How true is that?
Great are you, Lord. This I celebrate. Holy, holy.
Okay, so moving on straight to the weather front, telling you about what is happening on the weather front here in London and the southeast of England. This is what we have for you. Well, so on in London and the southeast of England, this is how the weather is going to be, as I did say earlier on. Yes, a mixture of all sorts. But this afternoon is expected to be cloudy and windy. It will be mostly dry. Small chance of the odd spot of light rain or drizzle. Tonight, we'll see more in the way of cloud throughout, although the all-clearer break may also develop at times, staying generally dry. A mild night expected as well. Fresh westerly winds locally strong as well. Temperature is going to be 11 degrees, the lowest is going to be 9 degrees. UV level low, pollution low as well. Sunset 15:53, sunrise for tomorrow morning 0803 hours.
Love for you runs
And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast.
All of you makes my heart beat. You make a dog.
But let me take you straight to the travels this morning as well. What is happening on your travels this morning? For those of you using the underground, Central Circle, Piccadilly lines have all got minor delays. That aside, the others are running a good service. DLR, London, Tramlink, London, Overground running a good service there as well. So when it comes to the major routes in London, well, depending on the local ones, I mean, there's lots of traffic when you're going to the shopping centers and all that because of the season that we find ourselves in, especially when some of the schools are breaking today as well. So we're going to be having lots of traffic there. But the central London red routes have got serious delays, so if you can avoid it, do your best to do so. The river bus, on the river bus this morning, the Woolwich Ferry has still got reduced service. That aside, all the others are running a good service. London Cable Car good service there, and that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update, and that is the national rail. So on the national rail this morning as well, what we've got for you is all pertaining to London North Eastern Railway, Northern Rail, ScotRail, that have all got minor delays. That aside, all the others, good service there, so you can enjoy your journey as you want to. But on that note, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your coming for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads. However, if you are listening to us and you're in the UK and you are outside, wherever you are, you want to share with us your take on what is going on pertaining to your travels, make sure you share it with us and we share it with our worldwide listeners. On that note, let me say, have a lovely travel wherever you might be. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Welcome back, Starr Radio UK.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive a king. Hey, listeners, yes, let earth receive a king. It is Starr Radio UK. I'm Archie, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Of course, of course. And as we saw on this platform, may Nigeria not happen to you? Yes. Okay. Now let's move on to some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. That is global trotting this morning. When it comes to the stories making the rounds in Nigeria, APC tell Tinubu true state of Nigeria, Fayemi to Ganduje, and then Wike orders demolition of Abuja community to make way for presidential fleet. Wow. Tackle naira scarcity to ease Nigerians' hardship. NLC urges the federal government and telcos to block subscribers without NIN, National Insurance Number, on February. The Zenith Bank makes World Finance 100 lists as sole Nigerian firm. That's a good one there. I hope that they've got the money in there. Yesterday, we remember one of the conversations that we were looking at myself and Olayomi, and where business entity have been, are they involved in the telecoms or what? Yes, it's based in the US, where allegedly said to have got some millions of dollars in a bank in Nigeria. However, it ended up that they had only $50 in that account. That's quite an interesting one. But interestingly, is it that they have $50 and maybe they have more naira, which is equivalent to whatever amount? So if they can prove that, why not? So maybe the foreign account is what they had $50 in. Yomi, you see where I'm coming from now? Yeah. I need to talk to them. I could be their defense. The investment fraudster sentenced to 75 years imprisonment in Ibadan, and Wike Fubaro feud. River elders, leaders reject Abuja peace deal. So what is going to happen there? Well, yesterday once we were on, some were saying that they had not agreed to anything of the sort. And it looks like that's what is going to happen. But we'll be bringing you more on that front once we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki with us. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. As we said yesterday, DR Congo goes to the polls today. Delays and logistics issues recorded as vote open. Yeah. Yes, I've been here since 6:30 a.m. That is 04:30 GMT, where we were here, but the offices aren't open yet. We're still waiting to do our civic duties. A French court jails Rwandan ex-doctor 24 years over genocide. Well, he tried to battle it, but well. And Egypt, Putin congratulates Sisi on his convincing victory. He means to say that that's the kind of victory I'm also going to be, winning or racking in. Well. So Starr Radio UK. And moving on to other parts of the world as well. This time round, Ghana as well. Let's look at some of the stories making the rounds there. Police pursue suspect for disturbances during district election at Senya. Well. They need to crack down on those things, and then we will see that people will be behaving the right way when it comes to politics. NDC alleges voter intimidation with military deployment in Suhum constituency. And then district level election called off in New Jamin South over challenges. What challenges were that? Let me tell you more about that. Later, arrival of voting materials left voters frustrated. This all coming away from Starr Radio UK in other parts of the world as well. Well, a Colorado court has disqualified Donald Trump. So Trump disqualified from 2024 ballot in Colorado. The Trump campaign vows to challenge the historic decision, which does not apply to other states. So can it be a president? Can he be a president of all other states and not be a president of Colorado? That is the issue. But did he do what he was saying that he did? That is another question there. I will tell you more about that. French MPs passed controversial immigration reform. The vote divided Mr. Macron's party, with the minister reportedly resigning in protest at a tough reform. And Chinese activists tried for inciting subversion. Li Jiachu, a prominent labor and women's rights activist, is said to have spread subversive thoughts. A U.S. citizen jailed by Putin left hostage to a deal. U.S. citizen Paul Whelan has been held for 5 years by Russia and feels abandoned by his country. What can they exchange you for? That's the question there. Already okay. Maybe if you have Trump becoming president, he will release you. Yes, Putin will release you like no man's business. But I'm not going to come away from there. Food and fuel drive drop in UK inflation rate as it falls to 3.9%. And dozens more dancers allege ballet school body shaming. And apps want to change the world after Sporty win. Some of the stories making the rounds. And disruption warning as junior doctors strikes return. So, rare rainbow cloud spotted over Scotland. Clouds with beautiful iridescent color were captured by weather watchers in Scotland. Quite an interesting one. And then a final one, British businessman freed after Ecuador kidnapping. Colin Armstrong, 78, from North Yorkshire, has been taken hostage from his farm near Guayaquil. Well, he's been freed now. Okay, it's now gone 2 minutes to the top of the hour. We're going to take some music. Once we come back, we have Miss Olayomi Koiki joining in to bring you everything Christmas and Nigeria. Okay, let's enjoy this song. It is from Kobe Frimpong and the Better Revival Choir, and it says Afishapa, meaning happy Merry Christmas or Happy New Year.
Sisi na sonya
This is Starr Radio UK.
Fipa
Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive a king. Hey, listeners, yes, let earth receive a king. It is Starr Radio UK. I'm Archie, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Okay, so welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time down to 7 minutes past the top of the hour. It is a Wednesday edition of the morning show. I've got my colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, all the way in our North London studios, who is ready to fire on all cylinders. But let me say, Yomi, massive good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, back in studio, Mr. Archie. Good morning to our listeners, and welcome once again to the Starr Radio UK network.
How are you doing? How is the family?
Well, you could tell that the family is now on that holiday break, and that is the reason why we are also, some few minutes behind schedule. That means that we are currently now full gear for the Christmas. The family are back, for that long Christmas break. And as we always say, we might also have, some sound engineer behind, but we see how it goes. But again, it is the Wednesday edition, and I know we're very, very pressed with time when it comes to Wednesday because of the PMQ. So we just crack on it. I know we've not laid down the conversation, but I'm sure you've been picking on one or two things, and I'll probably pick on some as we go into the program this morning. Because as usual, when it comes to news from Nigeria, many rely on the Starr Radio UK network.
Okay, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you this morning, and we are bringing you everything that you got to know when it comes to Nigeria. Okay, so let's crack on because we're pressed with time. Now, tell Tinubu, that's APC, he said, tell Tinubu, true state of Nigeria. They are telling Fayomi to Ganduje. Who is Fayomi? Who is Ganduje? Why are they telling him to tell the truth of the state of Nigeria to everybody? Yomi?
Well, I'm sure you remember Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, but it probably maybe because the name is the reason why. But when I say Babariga, I'm sure you remember that person. He's a former governor of Kano State. He's currently the APC chairman. Fayemi also is a one-time governor of Ekiti State, a former minister under President Muhammadu Buhari. It seems, as you said, there's a lot. Nigerians are really, really crying out. I got a call from Ojaodon, very close to the southwest of Nigeria this morning. And the individual that we sent message, as usual, we try to help the little that we can help, especially as the Christmas get closer, to pick up one or two things. Well, he actually woke me up to say, Oga, which means the boss, things are very expensive, and I say, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to, to call President Bola Tinubu to control the price that will now take me straight to, the next, story that we have. Domestic borrowing also jumps to 134%, rises to 52 trillion naira as we speak to you this morning. The total domestic debt stock may have risen by 133.95%. That is almost about 51.96% towards the end of 2023. This is coming from the Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patient Oniha, while speaking to the CNBC Africa on the sideline of the discussion for the establishment of African debt. The question is, was it debt that should have been avoided? Some of those debts that we end up putting out so much when it comes to borrowing. Nigeria is borrowing a lot, but the question is, have we used those borrowing for the purpose of what we said we were going to use it for? And the question again is, domestic borrowing threatens Nigerian economic stability. IMF, The federal government incurred 950 billion new domestic borrowing in the Q1 of 2022. We have facilitated 802 billion domestic borrowing. Many Nigerians will be asking, since all this borrowing, what has it made in terms of transformation in the country itself?
Well, interesting. What has it made? Because we don't mind the borrowing, but the question is, what are we getting out of that borrowing that seems to be going on? My listeners, this is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Olusegun Adeleye, don't worry, Ghana, so we still come and rubbish you and master mentality. Okay, we hear you, Olusegun. Okay, now let's move on. Let's move on to some of the other stories that is making the rounds there. Now, we did talk about what was happening in the rivers yesterday, and they were saying that, there's been an agreement because there's been a peace brokering that was done by the president. However, there's a weekend Fubara feud. River elders, leaders are rejecting that rejecting the Abuja peace deal. So, Yomi, do you have more about that story as well? Is it true? Was there a peace deal brokered? Or now they went back and decided, we don't agree to whatever terms that have been agreed on. What do you think?
Well, it seems that the issue between Rivers State is still not being resolved as much as the presidency doesn't want it to continue to be escalating, and that means that many individuals, many stakeholders, are still not satisfied. Like you said, we talked about it, during the program yesterday. Rivers said have rejected Tinubu's intervention, saying that the decision is an executive rascality. What does that mean? According to the Rivers State elders and the leading, including a former governor, Chief Rufus Ade George, and the former deputy governor, Gabriel Toby, have rejected the President Bola Tinubu's intervention in the political crisis rocking the state. The elder expressed worry that the intervention may have worsened even the crisis in the state itself. They state this in a communique read to the newsmen, yesterday.
Wow. So, though they didn't agree to whatever, maybe they thought that maybe the president should be whatever. But do you think that still the peace, though it came from the top, is something that has been accepted by all of them?
Well, Fubara himself spoke, at an event yesterday, in somewhere at a gathering, and like you said, some of what he said, I'm trying to pick on that this morning. Like I said, this is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. It is exactly 14 minutes past as the situation between Similailai Fubara. Again, remember that just a month ago, the House of Assembly, was destroyed. We saw that Tinubu met with the governor. Are we going to see peace in that particular state? Like I said, people are still very skeptical, regarding, what has been the outcome. The deep political crisis continue. But like I said, Fubara himself says that, LP says that, they've dropped all petition against Fubara elections. But what is actually the main reason, why are we getting this friction, between, the former governor, Nelson Wike, the current FCT minister, and also the present governor? It seems that there is more to it. It's all about, the godfatherism. People say, it is played around the world, even within the churches, even in businesses as well. So could we say that as the river leaders, elders are saying that they are not satisfied, could it be that the governor himself is probably maybe satisfied with the outcome?
Okay, we can't hear Mr. Olayomi Koiki. I don't know. Take your son, let's see. Okay, just bear with us.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I think he's yeah. So it seems that the situation
is gone again. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it seems that the situation is still very, very tough. From River State. Yeah, I think it's from my end, trying to see if I can monitor the mic.
Okay. Listeners, it is Star Radio UK. Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios, and we appreciate everyone who has joined in. Olusegun, we're here to discuss things. We look at things in various forms. Now, if you're looking at it from a different point of view, and I'm looking at it from a different point of view, we want to come out not insulting each other. Yeah? Good. So, if you think you don't agree with what we are saying there, feel free, make your statement, but don't come in, insulting. Yeah? Okay. Thank you. I know that we have scholars and gentlemen on this platform. That's why we bring that to you. All right, then. Okay, let's move on. Now, in other stories making the rounds this morning, we have Wike, who is ordering a demolition of Abuja community to make way for presidential fleet. Now, he has his own backyard where there is trouble. Now, he's come to Abuja, where he's been made the minister for the FCT, and then he thinks that the presidential fleet, that they need more space for it, so they need to demolish some people. Is it some people's edifices or buildings, or is it state property that they're going to be demolishing there? Yomi?
Well, since this administration and since Wike took control, I mean, it won't be the first to be the minister of FCT. Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State, was one time in that position during the PDP. But it seems that Wike is generating a lot of conversation because it's taking down buildings and like you talked about it, he wants to expand a little bit of the presidential fleet. I think what we are saying is that because he's a very different individual. Remember that he's coming from the PDP to become part of these cabinet for the APC. So that also is also making a lot of discussion. It seems that the president believes in him, and that is the reason why he has been given this particular position to work on. But since Wike took office as the FCT minister, it has been one thing or the other in terms of those that have properties and land, and probably, like he says, it seems that Abuja is almost turning into a slum like Lagos State.
Okay, maybe he's doing his best there, but if he is not, we'll be following very closely and we'll let you know. But listen, as Star Radio UK. Now let's come to one other story that's making around. MFLA last year, by this time, I think we were having the Naira scarcity issue that was going on. Well, after Buhari left office, MFLA arrested, and there are all sorts that is going on. He's still on bail. However, there is Naira scarcity. Now, I did ask the question, did Buhari take the Naira away? The answer is no, he didn't. Now, who is holding the Naira? What exactly is happening? Yomi?
Well, election is concluded. What Buhari told us, the former president, was that the reason why there will be changes in the Naira as at the time was because of the insecurity in the country, and likewise because many politicians have held these money, and they were going to be using it for the purpose of vote buying. But Buhari has gone. Emefiele is still trying to get his feet between the current administration. Who should we hold responsible right now? We have the new CBN governor, Cardoso. We have the finance minister, Wale Edun. But as I speak to you, we've been talking about this in the last couple of days up to last week. I remember, we spoke to Bishop Adesina. As at yesterday, one of our reporters on the ground, because we've actually sent them out to get the feels of Nigerians when it comes to the economy. Well, one says that as much as she was asked if she can take bank transfer, she said, "Well, when I go to the farm to buy my produce, nobody takes bank transfer." That is a problem there. We're talking about the local market now, where traders have to go somewhere. Let's give an example. If I have to go to Spitalfield Market this morning, and I'm a fruit seller in one of the local, market around UK, going to the Spitalfield Market, I'll be able to do transfer from my bank to the buyer and buy in bulk and then sell it, and then I can also take, cashless policy. But what we are seeing right now is that the naira scarcity is now back in Nigeria. Could it be because of the holiday, or could it be because we don't have enough? Nigerians have now taken to various social media platforms to decry the rising level of the scarcity of the naira. The naira scarcity comes approximately 12 months after Nigerians went through the similar ordeal in 2022. Recall that following the naira redesign policy implemented by the CBN between December 2022 and February 2023, there was a cash shortage ensued until the Supreme Court extended the deadline to the end of this month, which is just about a few more days. But however, this extension has now been revoked at the request of the federal government of President Bola Tinubu. But as the Christmas and the New Year festival approach, Nigerians are once more encountering the same problem that we encountered, last year.
Well, if that they are encountering that, do we blame MFLA? Do we think that MFLA did better? But whatever it is, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So like me, Koiki on North London Studios. I'm actually here in the South Studios, and we're bringing you all that you need to know when it comes to Nigeria this morning. It's now gone 11:22, and I'll hand over to Yomi for the rest of the stories and what is happening on the social media platform. Over to you, sir.
The soldiers are earning less than 50,000 naira monthly. I paid 1,200 daily as an operation allowance. This is coming from the defense chief. We've talked about the welfare of securities agencies in the country, be it the police, the army, the navy, the air force, and the question remains is if you calculate 50,000 naira with the exchange rate this morning, it's probably just less than 40 pounds. So the question is, is that enough, for the average soldier in the country this morning? But the defense staff, General Christopher Musa, has revealed that military personnel are paid 50,000 naira monthly salary, while he and the other officers, regardless of their rank, are paid 1,200 daily as operation allowance. Mr. Musa disclosed this while speaking about the welfare of soldiers on one of the mainstream media on Tuesday yesterday. The issue of cash allowance, where we feed anytime we're on the operation. I, as a general, I am being paid 1,200 per day with my soldiers. From the first general to the last soldier, it is the same amount. That is what we have to manage. My soldier collect less than 50,000 naira as a monthly salary. We all know the situation on the ground. My appeal is for them to have a salary that is worth of the work they are doing. We deserve to have that so that it can encourage them to, to what they want. Once again, this is the Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, as we continue to give you all the update coming out of Nigeria this morning. Let's take you through some of the other headlines coming out this morning. Back to you in the studio in just about a few minutes. Once again, there is more when it comes to as security continue to be top-notch, especially as the Christmas is now less than 5 days. Police have literally banned street carnival and the fireworks in Osun State. Governor Yusuf submit nominees for the State Electoral Commission is coming from the other news as well. Also, Governor Adeleke light curfew on warning Ifon, Ilobu communities after what we call another clashes. The question is, why are we getting these clashes? Well, it's always over because it's always happening because there's a land dispute. The governor of the state, Adeleke, that have now issued this curfew to these two communities, and let's hope peace will reign. When it comes to land, I'm not too sure why we have these, but the problem is because if we don't have a system where we don't know who owns each of the land, most of these should have been documented digitally, but it seems that that is not the case in Nigeria. So this morning, as I go back again to Osun State, two-story out of Osun State, as one says, you would not be able to have any street carnival in Osun State. Also, the governor, which is the one behind us right now. Let's see if we can get that as adjust properly. Once again, we call him the dancing governor. He loves to dance, and I'm sure many of our listeners will also remember that he's also an uncle to Davido, one of the finest artists coming out of southwest of Nigeria. Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State has lifted the curfew imposed on Ifon and Ilobu communities square to a near-perfect semblance of peace and orderliness that has returned to the warring communities. The governor also said the curfew will be lifted today to enable everyone to go out their normal activities without any restriction of any kind from the two communities. This was contained in a statement by the Commissioner of Information and Public Enlightenment as well this morning. We take one or two more as well, from the network, and then I'll be telling you what is happening on the social media as well. This morning as well, yesterday I picked on that story. It seems that we can only give a little bit brief on it because it is not yet something that we can expand, but I can confirm that the NCA, the National Crime Agency, in UK, have also I've also charged an ex-bank director, Adetunji Fadensi Jones, with bribery. The NCA here in UK suspect that he accepted bribes, including money and a vehicle, while working for the First Bank in UK. First Bank is one of the banks that many Nigerians have known for a very long time and is still in operation. But the National Crime Agency in UK have decided that they have to, charge this individual. He actually appeared at the Westminster yesterday, on the 18th, which is 2 days ago. But like I said, the story is just coming out. Remember that we still have, the Zany will not be returning back until November 2025. The question then is, why would this individual be charged? He has been charged because the National Crime Agency investigation in UK believed that Adetunji Fadensi Jones, 45 years old of Hertfordshire, led the bank's relation with a prominent businessman in the Nigerian oil and gas and petroleum industry, who is also subject to the NCA investigation. Fadensi appeared, like I said, December 18 at the Westminster Magistrate Court for his initial hearing. The NCA suspected that he accepted bribes, including money, vehicle, while he was working for the FBI in the United Kingdom. At 11:29, because of the time, I'm going to take you straight to Kaduna State again. Kaduna Polytechnic College of Education lecturer receiving absolute mutilated salaries. That is also coming from the news as well. Also, there was a statement that came out also from the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Group, Professor Adebanji Akintoye. See if we can pick on that before we go straight to the social media this morning. This was in the dailies yesterday at the Nigerians, at the dailies in one of the daily newspaper in Nigeria yesterday by Professor Adebanji Akintoye, that was read like this. It is an open message, and this is actually to all members of the Yoruba elite. I'm going to pick just a little bit out of it, but probably later on during the Niger Voices, we will read everything through. Remember that the Yorubas are still campaigning for the right to self-determination, just like the Biafra. The Prime Minister, government in exile of the Biafra, Mazi Simon Ekpa, has literally also released a statement to all the Biafrans that are planning to go home to avoid traveling, send the money to their loved ones. That would be much better because of the Islamic State and the terrorism that is still taking place in Nigeria. The same thing the FCDO has given advice, 21 states out of Nigeria, 36 states, you should not be traveling to that. But what is the message coming from the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination this morning? It's all about the open message. And it goes like this. This is a special message at the beginning of this December 2023 to all members of the elite of the Yoruba people, to the academics, the intelligence, the intelligentias, the business captain, the professionals, and also the high places, religious leaders, Muslim, Christians, and also Isheshe. The political leaders, the holders of the public office, the whether elected or appointed, the traditional obas and the chiefs, etc. as well. The picture of the Yoruba struggle to survive, to free itself, and to go forward to prosper looks jaggy today. The reason is that the Yoruba elite have kept away from their nation's struggle and have essentially abandoned their people. Our Yoruba nation situation is very similar today to that of the Armenians, whom the Turks exterminated in 1915 to 1916 in the largest act of what is known as a genocide on record in the modern history. The killings of the Armenians have started in a small waves since the last years of the 19th century, but the Armenian elite, one of the most civilized Christian people in Europe, had raised no finger to defend their nation. So what we're going to do later on tonight, we're going to expatiate on that, but it seems that just as our professor says there, the Yoruba elite are the reasons why the movement has not literally moved to where it used to be, because many still believe that keeping one Nigeria is in the interest of every single one of us. So we will continue to monitor on that, and I'm going to go straight to what is trending on the social media this morning at 11:42 on the Star Radio UK network. Once again, as we remind ourselves that later on tonight, we will be communicating back at about 1800 hours rather, where we will be talking about Nigeria, self-determination and rest. Morakiyo Akiosun at Morakiyo says Nigeria leaders and the security forces are also very bad. We have been ruled by mafias that don't care about our lives before. If not for this country, waiting Nigeria defined as South Africa, and is actually responding to an article that says that Nigerians in South Africa protest against police brutality, extrajudicial killings of the nationals, and destructions of their property. This has been going on for some time now, so there is something that many Nigerians that lives in that axis have complained, quite a lot about. But again, it seems that people are still talking about the River State, as Press 99 says. The River State High Court sitting in Isiokpo, presided over by Honorable Justice O. Ben White, today, the 20th of December 2023, in a suit number IH230-2023 between Sir Similaye Joseph Buro and the River State House of Assembly. So it seems there is still tension on that end. Also, Ademola at Ogbeni Demola, an African child being displayed in the Human Zoo in Brussels, Belgium in 1958. Very terrible picture that we will probably not be able to share. Well, let's take one or two more, then I'm going to go straight back to you, Mr. Archie. Once again, many Nigerians are concerned, especially because not just of the insecurity. Remember that we talked about these 14 crew members that were kidnapped on their way back to Abuja from Kogi State after playing a juju musician, still being held there almost now 4 days. We don't know what is the state of things with them, but the last we heard was, the terrorists, Boko Haram, that kidnapped them, wanted 10 million naira each for each one of them. So not too sure what the security are doing to get them released and to get them free before Christmas. But let's remember that we still have those kept in that same situation since September that were traveling from Akwa Ibom to Sokoto for the NYSC. That is how far we can go this morning at 11:34. I'll come back to you now in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you, bringing you everything that you need to know. But you know what? Because of time, so we cannot go on. But this evening, exactly at 18 hours GMT, yes, he will be on with the Niger Voices. So make a date with him. Yomi, before you go.
Yes, tonight we will be discussing, why the Yoruba elite have not been involved in the struggle to the Yoruba nation that we've been talking about. Is it the right of the elite to keep mute while genocide is perpetrated in the Yoruba land today? That will be the conversation, and I will be talking about Christmas. What is your plan for the Christmas that is just less than 5 days away?
Okay, Yummy. Let me say thank you very much for that wonderful update. We'll see you later. Yes.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Okay, listen, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki. As I did say earlier on, he'll be on the Niger Voices this evening, exactly at 18 hours GMT. We'll let you know where he'll be broadcasting from. All right, then. Let's take this quick commercial break, and then we continue with the show. So don't touch the dial. It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station. Hey, Charlie.
You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you're stressed out, tired. Oh, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Siku mtukufu na nyota ni angavu, ni usiku kazaliwa Masia. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. Tumaini kwa dunia yenye hofu, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Johnny tumsujudu Yesu, sikia malaika. Oh night divine, oh night when Christ was born. Hakika katufundisha upendo kati yetu, ni amri kuu na injili ya amani. Chains shall he break, for the slave is a brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease.
Okay, something coming your way from Tanzania. You sing cool with Kuku, singing all holy night. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Continue on track the dial, let's take from a short break and we continue on with the compilation. The dance out from you want to jump in or hop in, feel free to do so. Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you're stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa will provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233-2006-06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive a king. Hey, listeners, yes, let earth receive a king. It is Starr Radio UK. I'm Archie, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 11:42. Got about another 18 minutes just to bring the program to a close. I'm going to be rushing through all the other stories making the round straight on to the African front. DR Congo, there are delays in logistics for the election that is taking place. But the morning enthusiasm, but also some frustration in the queues. Congolese began to vote on Wednesday for a decisive general election. Now, according to the findings of our team on the ground, voting operations began haphazardly in Goma, Bukavu, Beni, Lubumbashi, and Shikapa, with more or less significant delays and malfunctions. And our voters expected delays common in Democratic Republic of Congo and likely to be aggravated by difficulties in transporting electoral materials to remote areas. But it seems to be in Kinshasa itself that some of the most significant delays have been recorded, where the state capital, where believe that everything at least it should be okay. They're having delays and some anomalies there. But listeners, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Still on the African front as well. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is very concerned about fighting between the Sudanese army and paramilitaries that have spread to the state of Al Jazeera in Sudan. The spokesman said on Tuesday, adding that 250,000 people have fled the central eastern state. The Secretary General is very concerned about reports of fighting between Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary rapid support forces in the vicinity of the Wad Madani in the state of Al Jazeera, said Stephanie Dujarric. Wad Madani, which serves as a hub for humanitarian aid and until a few days ago been spared by the war that broke out in April between the head of the army, General Abdel Fattah al-Bahrain, and his second in command, General Mohammed Hamdani Daglo, head of the dreaded RSF. Listeners, Starr Radio UK. One more story, then move on straight from there to other stories making the round. A former Rwandan doctor has been jailed for 24 years by a French court for its involvement in the 1994 genocide. Sutheni Moyemana was on Wednesday found guilty of genocide, crimes against humanity, and participation in a conspiracy to prepare these crimes. A 68-year-old gynecologist was accused of helping draft a letter for the interim government that supervised the killings of Tutsis. He was also accused of participating in the meeting that organized roundups of Tutsis civilians in the southern Rwandan prefecture of Butare, where he lived at the time. Mr. Moyamana, who moved to France months after the genocide, denied any wrongdoing, and his lawyers said they plan to appeal the verdict. But let's see what happens on that front. It's still coming away from Starr Radio UK. In other stories making the rounds in Ghana as well, the police are currently pursuing some suspects in connection with a violent disturbance during the ongoing district assembly elections at Senya electoral area in Accra. In a statement that narrated that the suspect caused damage to electoral materials and injured one person in the process, a police reinforcement team took control of the situation and restored order. However, as a result of the incident, the Electoral Commission decided to suspend the process and announce a new date for the election in the area. We wish to assure the public that we will surely get the perpetrators arrested to face justice, the police has assured. Okay, but we don't have a true picture of what actually had gone on down there, who was actually involved in that. But in other developments there as well, the district level election in New Job in South Municipality in the Eastern Region, capital Koforidua, has been called off over unprecedented challenges. Electoral officials and security personnel were all at the polling station, packed out, and left the polling station at 9:40 a.m. after receiving official communication. The late arrival of voting materials left many voters who have turned out to vote frustrated in various polling stations in New Jobin and parts of the Eastern Region. Voting the district level election was supposed to begin but as at 7 a.m. but as at 9:40, the materials have not arrived for voting to start, despite EC officials being ready. Interesting. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now let's move on straight to some other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world as well. The one story that is making the round: Colorado Supreme Court has ruled that Donald Trump cannot run for president next year in the state, citing a constitutional insurrection clause. The court ruled 4-3 that Mr. Trump was not an eligible candidate because he had engaged in an insurrection over the U.S. Capitol riot nearly 3 years ago. It does not stop Mr. Trump running in the other states, and his campaign says it will appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. The decision, they said, was completely flawed. The ruling only mentions the state primary elections on March 5, when Republican voters will choose their preferred candidate for president, but it could affect the general election in Colorado next November. It is the first ever use of Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution, 14th Amendment, to disqualify a presidential candidate. Until this decision, which has been placed on hold pending appeal until next month, only applies in Colorado. Similar attempts to kick Mr. Trump off ballots in New Hampshire, Minnesota, and Michigan have failed. The justice wrote in their ruling, "We do not reach this conclusion lightly. We are mindful of the magnitude and weight of the questions now before us. We are likewise mindful of our solemn duty to apply the law without fear or favor and without being swayed by public reaction to the decision that the law mandates we reach." The decision reverses an earlier one from a Colorado judge who ruled that the 14th Amendment insurrection ban did not apply to presidents because the section did not explicitly mention them. The same lower court judge also found that Mr. Trump had participated in an insurrection in the U.S. Capitol riot. His supporters stormed Congress on the 6th of January 2021 while lawmakers were certifying President Joe Biden's election victory. The Colorado Supreme Court decision does not go into effect until the 4th of January 2024. This is the eve of the deadline for the state to print its presidential primary ballot. Now, Stephen Chung, a spokesman for the Trump campaign, called the ruling completely flawed and lambasted the justices who were all appointed by Democratic governors. Now, Democrats party leaders are in a state of paranoia over the growing dominant lead President Trump has amassed in the polls, Mr. Chung said in a statement. They have lost faith in the failed Biden presidency and are now doing everything they can to stop the American voters from throwing them out of office next November. We'll see about that. A day or a week in politics is a very, very long time. Was he involved in insurrection? That's a question that most people do ask. But, well, I wanted to answer that for your Well, this is a serious story here that I'm going to touch on. And the names of more than 170 associates of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein could be made public next month after a ruling from a U.S. judge. Prince Andrew is expected to be among them if evidence is released from a woman who claims he groped her in 2001. The identities are being revealed and a settled lawsuit against sex trafficker Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Anyone on the list has until the 1st of January to appeal to have their names removed. Epstein, a millionaire financier known to mix with high-profile figures like Prince Andrew, died in jail in 2019. His death, as he awaited federal sex trafficking charges, was ruled to be suicide by the New York medical examiner. It's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Well, he's gone. He said he settled some people, settled some individuals so that some names will not come out, but it looks like that's not the case. Well, some students have sued the exams board or a school after exams ended 90 seconds early. Now, if you could not answer your questions, do you think that the 90 seconds was the one that will make or unmake you? A group of South Korean students are suing the government because their college admission examination ended 90 seconds earlier than scheduled. They are asking for 20 million won, that is $15,400 each, the cost of a year studying to retake the exams. The error affected the rest of the students' exam, their lawyer says. The country's infamous college admission test, known as Suneung, is an 8-hour marathon with back-to-back papers in multiple subjects. The Suneung is one of the hardest exams in the world, and stakes are very high. This not only determines the university placement and jobs, but even future relationships. A number of measures to help students concentrate are taken during the annual event, such as closing the country's airspace and delaying the opening of the stock market. The results of this year's exam were released on the 8th of December. The lawsuit filed on Tuesday by at least 39 students claimed that the bell rang earlier at a test site in the capital Seoul during Korean, the first subject of the exam. Some students protested immediately, but say the supervisors still took their papers away. The teachers recognized the mistake before the start of the next session and gave the 1.5 minutes back during the lunch break, but they could only mark blank columns left on their papers and were not allowed to change any existing answers. Oh boy. Oh boy. Anthony Adedaji, massive good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very well. Yes. RSVP to you too. All right then. Okay, now to the final segment in the morning show. Now, UK inflation rate has dropped. But what is causing that? We're bringing that your way. And then minister not averse to new assisted dying votes. Another story making the rounds. And a man has been arrested in Serbia over 26 million celebrity burglaries. Okay. So let's move on. We touch on a couple of them quickly. Now, Work and Pension Secretary Mel Stride has signaled his support for another parliamentary vote on assisted dying. He said there was no fresh legislation in the works, but he will not be averse to a new Commons debate. A bill to legalize assisted dying in the UK was defeated in 2015. Another Tory MP, Alicia Keynes, said national discourse has changed since then. The issue is being discussed after Esther Ranson announced she had joined the Dignitas Assisted Dying Clinic. Dame Esther, 83, has stage 4 lung cancer, and on Monday she said she planned to buzz off to Zurich, where the practice is legal, if her treatment did not work. Do you think it's a good move? Do you think you want to do that? So you are
having an ailment of sort, and then you think, well, I don't think I'm getting well, would you take that step? End your life? Well. No religion, those of us who are religious have all the doctrines and stuff like that we believe in. But what do you think about that? I will want to discuss that in a future day, not today. Well, I think the government will be rubbing their hands and be jumping in jubilation that, you know what, we are doing very, very well. Because before it just hit the ground, we had the Chancellor of the Exchequer making that statement. Now, UK inflation has fallen to its lowest level for more than 2 years, driven largely by a drop in fuel prices. Now, prices rose by 3.9% in the year to November, down from 4.6% in October. Now, slowing price rises for food, including staples such as pasta, milk, and butter, as well as for household goods, were also behind the fall. But while inflation, which is the rate price rises at, is now well down from its peak in 2022, it is still almost double the Bank of England's 2% target. A falling inflation also does not mean most goods and services are cheaper, but rather prices are rising less quickly. Now, Grant Spitzner, chief economist at the Office of the National Statistics, that's the ONS, said that while UK inflation had eased again, prices remain substantially above what they were before Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A major impact following the outbreak of war was that global oil prices soared in 2022, pushing petrol and diesel prices to record level. But this is where I bring the program to a close for today. And before we go, let's take this commercial and some music, and then we will bring the program to a close. Wherever you are, this is Starr Radio UK. This is your Wednesday edition of the morning show. Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Oh, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Okay, listeners, we're running up now. Well, how many days more? Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive a king. Hey, listeners, yes, let earth receive a king. It is Starr Radio UK. I'm Archie, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Okay, so let me say thank you very much for joining me today. Tomorrow we're going to be in for another rider. And also, let me say thank you very much to the various people who joined us on the various platforms, those on our apps, those on other platforms as well. Yomi will say the sister platforms. We want to salute each and every one of you. I hope you are all having a wonderful, wonderful time, and we wish you all the best in everything that you do. But I cannot end this program without bringing you this tune from the Trinidad and Tobago Armed Forces, and they say, Feliz Navidad. Enjoy. See you all tomorrow. Until then, it's me, Archie. And I say bye-bye for now, and a Merry Christmas to you.
And so this is Christmas. And what have you done? Another
UK.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.